What up, what up, what up? So I can't get the stream working on my embedded website. Something I'll figure out later. Wanted to get started with this. How's it going, guys? Happy Monday, Value Mondays. So streaming now live on all my platforms. And let me cut this music. Let me cut the music. And one last thing is I use Streamlabs for my digital remote. So that helps me change certain things. And where is it? Right here. So I use my iPad to like change scenes. So that's everything you guys are seeing is through that. And now I'm just getting it connected, authenticating. And yeah, we are live now. How's it going, guys? Alan Naff already here with another one for the digital marketing ballers. So this time I wanted to make content just from my my computer, because I realize like as I make this stuff, I think kind of in long term of who may be watching this. Again, the purpose is for me to help you guys get started quicker, have shortcuts, so that if this is something that you think you want to do, you know, don't let yourself have limiting beliefs of what you need or the content you that you need to produce. And one thing I was thinking of is, you know, with my touchscreen TV, that if I keep making my live streams with that, people are going to think like, oh, I need a touchscreen TV and I can't afford one, right? So then they'll never go live, or they'll never make content. And again, I share my story with when I first got my Sony a6000, I didn't make content until like 3 years later, 2 years later, because I had the limiting belief and like, you know, this mindset that, oh, I'm waiting for something. I'll make my videos when, or I need lights, or I need this or that. And I think one thing that could really help you guys in making content is realizing that in the beginning, or where you're at, like nothing is it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because if you could show to people where you started from, and you show people, you know, where you're at, then you can have that story to show them, right? Because I think a lot of times with the stuff before I was documenting it, right, I could only tell you of how my life experience went. But now with the opportunity we have with technology, you know, instead of me saying, hey, here's what happened, I could be like, well, here it was on the stream, or this is what happened that day. So that's why I have mad respect for the content creators, you know, people who make like daily vlogs and stuff of that nature. I'm trying to test out this market for my clients and for myself, and validate this experiment I'm doing in terms of doing like either a daily vlog, or like, because last week that was the first time I actually hit a daily vlog live stream, right? So I did Monday through Friday, and today I'm continuing that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do weekends or not, but I'm trying to execute to showcase to you guys that every day, right, with the right mindset, you should be taking action and following up with certain things. So I got one viewer on the stream. What's up, man? Again, I post on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and so technically the only platform that allows to have comments on replay is Facebook. So if you guys are wondering why I'm saying like, hey, drop hashtag live if you're viewing live, or hashtag replay if you're viewing replay, is because I want to showcase and be transparent of like who watched live, who saw it live, versus who's watching on replay. So that if they announce to the video that tracks it, technically it's only possible on Facebook, then anyone who's viewing it next time could see like, okay, so on Alan's chat, hashtag live, right, on my chat, which should send out to all platforms. Right now it says only went to Twitch. So if I do that, and I'll put one here, hashtag live or hashtag replay if joining, then you guys can, like, if it's watched in the future, you guys know who is consuming the content at which time. And then I also, if I set it up right, it should embed hard code into the video, right? So that's the angle, that's the explanation, the rationale behind what I'm doing. So I think that's important for you guys to understand that concept. And there's still some debugs that I have to get through for this production, but the point is, it's like, start where you're at, right? You guys don't technically need a computer setup. You don't need a Sony A6000. You could just use this right here, your phone, and just, get a tripod or use your hand and just do a Facebook Live, right? So I wanted to go into the topics, and I wanted to follow up on the last video I did, which was the funnel breakdown of I Love Basketball TV. So I mentioned that Coach Rocky, we were gonna hit. I don't work with him, but his aim was to hit $25,000 in a 2-day period. So I wanted to share the content. So here, if I'm doing it right. So again, this is the same email, and I think it's really cool what you do here is what you actually, let me do the image address. So what they do in marketing is you could have, well, it didn't work, but basically you have a embedded link that it counts down and it syncs to the internet. And basically if you go back on my live stream on Friday, you see that there was a timer here, right? And so now it dynamically updated the email address, and now it says offer is expired. Okay, so this goes back to, the concepts that you guys need to do in terms of having, it's either, you either have real scarcity or you have fake scarcity, right? So when Drew, my client, asked me, he said, hey, we all know this is fake. Well, here it is 2 days later, right? His goal was to hit $25,000. And if we go on the page now, again, you see that this is the page that was working 2 days ago. Now you cannot get that deal anymore. Okay, so there's a lot of sub-communication that this does, and I think it's important to kind of practice these mindsets or these mentalities. Because essentially, as a business owner, right, if you're considering doing this, what does this communicate to other business owners? Right, you could, depending on his numbers or how transparent he is, it could mean, you're going to rationalize this for yourself, right? But what this could mean is that because he's not offering this deal anymore, he followed up and said what he was going to do. Okay, so let me just make sure my mic's working. It is. So by executing on that, you could think, if you do the math, right? He doesn't say I'm going for $25,000. He just says I'm selling 500 copies, or when the timer hits 0. So he either got that, right? Can you imagine making $25,000 in 2 days, right? So for me, in that mindset, when I would hear not just digital marketers but marketers say that, I'd be like, yo, what is this guy trying to do, or what is the purpose behind this? And then once you start getting more experience and more knowledge, you start seeing that what I believe is there's a myriad of things that they're doing, but essentially he's setting a target for himself, and he's trying to execute it by leveraging social pressure on himself. Okay, so by announcing to his email list, however, and his 300 million followers, he's saying hey guys, this is what I'm going to be doing. And you could do the math if you're a business owner or not, but primarily my target market is basketball kids or whoever takes this program online. And now that he takes it away, right, he either got the money or he has this concept called abundance mentality. And so this is something that I was actually struggling with this weekend. Because one of my Brian, my brother, he joined the team on Blend Logic, and I took him on. And I've mentioned before, in previous stories, how when I closed $10,000 clients, I was asking some of my friends, for example, I said I wouldn't name him last time, but I'll name him this time. Enrico, I knew that he was doing photography and videography he has a similar camera to mine, and I said, hey, I got this client in LA, and I budgeted $3,000 for video production and photography. With that could pay for your plane ticket, and you could go, and then can you just make the budget fit, right? And at the time, he didn't want to do it because I think he was still in school, couldn't make it work, and among other things. And I get that, and I'm not trying to openly bash or I realize people are at different places in what they want in life, and they have different strategies and different momentums. But for me, right, because with what I was doing and what I was trying to accomplish in my life years ago, I remember just wishing I had an opportunity to do something than what the narrative was, which was to just work corporate and stuff like that, right? So I literally presented him with an opportunity. I said, look, man, I don't know any videographers in LA. I don't know anyone, but I know you. Do you want to do this for me? And so like to wrap up that portion of it, when I first started working with Jordan Lawley, I worked like almost a year and a half for free. I created this whole demo website, and then I created his real website. I actually found it. I was looking through my work I did. I believe it's Join Fest demo, Join Fest. Here it is, Jordan. Right. So the point that I want to make is that, like, for me, what I needed to do was to prove to myself that I had value, right? And a lot of times in people's psychology, that perception of how you validate your value is by monetary payment. But sometimes people can't see your value, and so like you'll get kind of depressed on like your current income, so to speak, right? And if I'm sharing my screen correctly, yeah, you guys should be able to see that, right? And then like that's the whole reason why in my life I told you guys how like one of the primary drives for me was to figure out this money thing, because and even like the happiness thing, right? Because well, like it, I can keep repeating these stories because these are like anchor points in my life that I think have direct me and make me do all the stuff I do now. It's like people say, okay, money isn't the answer for happiness, but I have to validate that somehow. And so there's that research study about hit 72K is the baseline for happiness. So I hit 72K, I set it as a goal, and I did it, right? With the same story I explained last time, that one of my friends said, go into consulting, right? And then I happened to execute hard and work a lot of hours in consulting, and I was able to get 6 figures. And for me, there was always like this thing missing, or I was like, okay, so that's what the study is, but here's how my experience is going. And like, I'm not saying that everyone has to have the same experience as me. I'm just saying, you know, because I realize like, it's not just you guys in the group that are watching this live, but there's potential for anyone watching this in the future. Is I think what could be an awesome thing to see is that by seeing someone go live, right? There's no edits. There's no, it's like full transparency. It's like, this is the day in the life of Alan Neferetti running Blend Logic. And I'm just sharing my thoughts so that if you happen to have the same experience in life, like maybe this could help you have motivation to take the next steps, or really think about maybe other concepts that you've heard like other speakers say. So again, I want to take a break to see who is joined live. Someone's on Twitch, someone's on Facebook. Thanks guys for joining. Again, I encourage you guys to engage, leave comments. Hopefully, I've tested out something different. You could probably tell on the stream, it says like it's hosted by Restream. So if I'm doing it right, it should appear on all, but I apologize if it doesn't. And again, to future people watching this, thanks for joining, guys. All right, so I use that, and that should send to all, and then it should appear on my stream soon. But yeah, guys, it's like, these are the topics I wanted to cover. Remember that I do the Jamboard, so anyone who has the links, you can always see the links to the Jamboard. And I realized I think I need to share this. So let me change this. Anyone with a link can edit. And let's share it with the group, guys. So I have a whiteboard link. Right, and also I share this with you because if you guys want to do your own thing, like I think a lot of times people think you need certain programs or certain skills or certain things. Like there's always going to be a thing that you wish you had, and I want to do it in the most simple fashion, right? So Google Jamboards is live, right? Google Sheets is live. Like maybe you can't afford Microsoft Office. I realize that, right? So I wanted to do things as cheap as possible so that like one of the biggest barriers I find people not executing on is they think they need this amount of money. Right, and I argue that shameless plug, dude. All you guys need is abundance mentality, and I covered this in my baseline group, private group where I do a book club. But I will go over that. So I don't even remember what this was called. Adding value to the market. 2018. 18, adding value to the market. All right, here's the link. You guys go on links.blendlogic.com/whiteboard. You can join me on this Jamboard. I highly encourage, group participation. And if you are joining on replay, if you guys want to like write anything down, I try to look at if anyone's added stuff. But of course, as I keep making content, it will be kind of difficult to do that. So we're gonna engage the audience, and then I'm gonna hit up my next topic. Okay, so if this is something you want to add, this is something you look up, is an expiration GIF on emails that dynamically change. It's a really cool thing that you could do to your emails, so that, like, because in emails you can't technically embed a website, but you can embed a image GIF. So his GIF was, well, depending on how he did this, right? This whole thing could be an embedded dynamic link. But basically, like, I've shown you the concept, right? You could look this up and figure it out yourself. That how do I add a countdown expiration to my email? And then, again, here, the real scarcity, right? Like, there's just, I really think that in terms of when you're doing digital marketing, to apply real life stuff, like things that are working in other industries, into real life, right? So when Supreme, like, the reason why Supreme's making a lot of money is because they purposely underproduced their stuff and charge such a high rate, because, like, the basics of economics is that, high demand, low supply. So they purposely did that so that the people who could afford it have something that is valuable, right? And valuable is relative, but essentially it's, they're like, if Supreme sells out, like, they sell out, that's it, right? So there is value in making things having scarcity, right? So if Drew, you watch this on replay, I think now that I've added it to BlendLogic, I can tag you guys. So a hashtag Drew, not Drew Brees, Drew Lasker. Why can't I not tag him? Hashtag at Drew Lasker. So I see Ben joined. I think so. My Facebook isn't integrated. I apologize. And my sister joined. What's going on, Tang? Drew Lasker. Check this part out. It's real scarcity. And if that tag works, hopefully it does. And I'll look into why my Facebook thing isn't working. Kind of sad day, boys. But yeah, so, like, this concept of, like, adding value to the market, and I think it's synonymous because I first started hearing that concept in, like, consulting, technically, in my consulting career, where basically, like, besides the people I always refer people to, like Gary Vee, Lewis Hughes, any of these guys I went to, Nick Vujicic, definitely a cool guy to check out. He literally has no arms and legs, and he's just fucking dominating. Like you just look him up and then realize that any excuse you have or any, like, limiting belief is not a real limiting belief, right? If you met this guy in person and saw what he was doing, like, I bet you better believe that I hope that you would start fucking executing, right? Like, I have his book here. It's Unstoppable. Pretty sick book. Like, dude, he's on a surfboard, guys. Like, what other thing, like, what other, like, it's crazy to me. Like, here's what I, like, wanna, this is why I do what I'm doing, right? Let me change my thing, right? Like, the reason I feel like I'm called to do this in BlendLogic and motivation is because, like, there's dudes like this who exist, and yet I still meet people who are like, they just don't execute, right? They're just like, oh, I can't do it because of this, or, oh, I don't have the time, right? And I'm making caricature of it because that's what I had to do. I had to make a caricature of my own limiting beliefs. But it's like, dude, like, what are you waiting for, man? Like, you're gonna die one day, and then all it will be is just, like, it's either you wish of what you did, or you have the experience to share with other people of, like, hey, this is how it was for me. Hopefully you learn from my mistakes and you learn from my successes, and you execute faster than I was able to execute, right? But, like, to wrap it up in the value, it's like, in consulting, And now that I've like kind of, if you realize what I'm doing from like a high level, I'm taking the successes I see from a lot of industries, and I'm just tying it all together in what I've done with Blend Logic. And when I say, like, you have to add value to the market, it's you have to ingrain in yourself, like whether you're a basketball trainer, which is the people I'm targeting, or you're a digital marketing agency, or you want to get into digital marketing, that if you're not adding value, like, you're not going to get paid unless people think you're valuable, right? And so one of the biggest things I see from my own like self beliefs, and then when I meet other people, is like they have this idea that they like, oh, my client's not paying me, or I didn't get money. Like, why do you think you deserve to get paid a certain amount, right? And even people work in corporate, right? I hear it all the time. They're like, I'm only getting paid this amount. It sucks, right? It sucks that I only get 10% raise, or it sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then, I offered them my experience where I was like, hey, well, I switched jobs. I left programming. I became a consultant. And yes, it was scary. And yes, there's always self-doubt. There's always imposter theory. But I'm like, hey, but I went from 43 to 50, 50 to 72, 72 to 6 figures. So if you're going to like, don't come at me with this thing that you can't increase your money if you're not willing to try what I was willing to try, right? And then in terms of like people, and in terms of like digital marketers trying to say that your client's not paying you, well, like, and this even goes to even some of my like existing clients, right? I have to speak to who my existing audience is, like my clients who are basketball trainers, my prospects who I want to target are basketball trainers, and then I know that I network with digital marketers, and some of them ask me like, oh, how do I do my live streamer and stuff like that, right? It's like, I was lucky enough to be introduced to Gary Vee, but I didn't fully read his details. But there was just this concept in my mind where I was like, dude, I need to, like, Jordan is not going to pay me until I do enough work, right? And so I went a whole year just not getting paid. And I remember the email he sent me, and he was just like, yo, bro. And it's really funny because Jordan, like, when you meet him in person, he's very passionate, and he speaks like he demands presence, or he demands attention. But in his emails, he's got like that West Coast chill vibe. And I remember he was just like, yo, bro, I feel bad that I'm not paying you. Like, let me get your PayPal address. And I didn't know what he was going to pay me. And I didn't even ask for an amount. I just said, here's my PayPal address. And then he started paying me $250 a month. And then he started paying me $500 a month, right? And then it's like, it just grows from there, right? Because as you keep adding value, there's a thing in marketing. And if you guys have ever wrecked a car, you guys know that car dealerships do this. But essentially, it's like, once you establish value, and then you kind of get this scarcity where it's like, oh, I can't commit so much to your time, then you could technically make the people realize how much value you're worth, right? And it's up to them to decide to execute on that. And going back to that car analogy, so basically, if you've wrecked your car, right? So my girlfriend had to get her Mazda in the shop, and they let her borrow the newest model of a Mazda 3. So when you give someone something that has comparative value, like a new car, and you let them drive it, right? The aim there is that they get used to the nice features, and then like subconsciously they'll think, oh, this is why this is what the new Mazda 3 stuff have, and then they take it away. They're like, okay, your car's done, and here's your old car back. But most good car dealerships, right, will at least try to make you an offer or make you a pitch, be like, hey, maybe you want to trade this in, or blah blah blah, right? Because you've tasted something nice, right? You've tasted value, or perceived value. And because you got to experience it, then when you try to walk away, like, usually most people are like, oh, no, I actually want to work with you, right? And so if you're doing this for, like, in basketball training, right, like, to me, it still blows my mind that people don't, like, I'm not going to say you have to go live, right? Because I realize there's mental blocks that you guys have of, like, your self-beliefs or your confidence or a myriad of things. But at least give, like, free, or, like what I see in the fitness market is like drop-in sessions, right? Like, if you're gonna have a product that's like $100 a month, $150 a month, at least offer a sample and be like, hey, you want to come in for your first session? It's like $20, right? Because then if they go in for $20 and they see how valuable your basketball training is, then like literally it's the easiest sell. You just be like, hey, I'm glad you came, you like this session. Imagine what it'd be like if you worked with me like every week, how good you'd get. But no pressure, your call. I'm just saying I have these amount of clients. These are the kids I train. You can see it on Instagram. You can see it on blah, blah, blah. Right. And you just like that, like that's what I want you guys to get to a point in your business. Okay. So let me see if my Chrome's still sharing. And let me get my Jamboard. Let me get my Jamboard out for you guys. Air server, where you at? So if I'm doing this right, you guys should see this is Streamlabs OBS. Meta. And here's my Jamboard, right? So practice this car dealership approach, right? This is what they do in the car dealer industry and like their marketing tactics. Car dealership, right? If you really want to know your value, then like you have to be willing to walk away, right? Practice walking away. Because if people really valued you, they wouldn't let you go, right? If you want to say as a digital marketer, oh, I should be getting paid this, I should be getting paid that, then test and see, right? And I think the reason that people don't walk away is because they don't have, like in my mind, in my experience in life, what allowed me to do that was like meditation, like prioritizing, investing in myself, prioritizing my health, even my mental health, and then also like the abundance mentality, right? Where it's like, okay, if I don't get it this time or with this client, I know that I have what I think is the best gift to have is like the idea that you could improve and that everything, like accountability, and that you could keep executing and just get better, that eventually you'll get value, right? And I think a big thing that stops people from initially starting, oh, you guys are seeing my remote, that's funny, is that people lack confidence, right? So maybe I'll do it this way, because this will probably be easier for you guys to see what I'm writing. So again, you guys can go to Jamboard, and I apologize, it looks like my hashtag lives aren't joining. Let me comment to the group. Okay, so I got a meeting at 3 and I purposely time blocked myself so that you guys can like kind of see how your perceptions will change or how flowing you'll go. But there's a good idea or this concept called time blocking, and I've been sharing it on my Instagram for a long time, sharing it, because I think it could change your life. But it's this idea that you guys want to track all your time, and not only track all your time, if I'm doing it right? So I have two things. I use Google Calendar, and I say, hey, these are the things I want to do, right? And technically, I have my whole day free. I think I'm going to do another scheduling session here. I didn't write it in my iPad. I want to read. Read for baseline book club. And if I'm doing this right, see, I'm not even doing it right. You guys should be better than I am at staying diligent. So I'm doing a live stream on adding value live stream in progress, right? And so it's this idea of time blocking where it's like, okay, I know I have a 2 o'clock session, so I can't just talk, right? I have to hit the topics that I want to hit so that I could add value to you guys, right? Again, by not only explaining the concept of adding value to the market, but hopefully I am adding value to the market in your guys' life, is that, yeah, you should try time blocking, because like literally there's a good thing from Tim Ferriss, and he talks about how, you will procrastinate because like if you think in school, if you knew that you had a deadline for a project that you had a whole year to do, and you had to write for example, a 10-page essay in 10 months. But it's a huge project. There's going to be a lot of research. But that's what I'm telling you guys now, right? Like, I was guilty of this at tech, right? I didn't fucking do shit until, like, the timeline was setting up. So now I've, like, learned that, okay, I need to set up structure. I need to do this time blocking so that I'm not just going to dilly-dally. And I'm going to do, like, every morning I wake up and say, okay, what do I have to do? And I schedule it in my time. And then I just stay to those deadlines. And it's like, this is what has to happen. And I'm not saying that you have to do that or not do that. I'm just, again, the whole point of me going live is just full transparency, where it's like, okay, maybe that was what maybe that's why Alan got whatever he got, right? I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know if this live stream VBlogging is going to work out or not. I just know that I have, the mentality I hope you guys can foster in yourself and manifest in yourself is that I have this confidence, which I think is, I was playing video games yesterday and I was talking to Kyle, and if you guys want, you go on my Twitch and see that I was playing video games, like whatever. But basically, somewhere on the stream, I was talking about how there's a good book called The Winner Effect, which basically means like, dude, if you guys hit low-hanging fruit and you guys can get that low-hanging fruit, then you'll go to the next one and the next branch and the next thing, right? And you build momentum. And basically, I feel like I'm at a point right now where I recognizes my losses and I recognize my wins, and I'm just like, okay, no more theory, no more thinking what could be good, and let me just see if it's good. So let me just do the thing and then see what happens, right? And there's a lot that's involved in getting that process. I understand, like, that could be scary for some people, and that's like the reason why I make all this stuff and be as transparent, is because, like, in my opinion, I didn't do that before because I was scared if it didn't work. I was scared that, like, I didn't have abundance mentality. And in reality, it's like tying that back to, you know, I think that I needed money, right? But I proved to myself I didn't need money because I got 6 figures. And then I was like, no, like, I know they always talk about it, but, like, I need to experience it, right? And so now in this venture point in my life, it's like, you know, I'm making whatever I make with Blood Logic, but I have full, like, this experience of being more confident and being able to say whatever the hell I want to say has much more fulfillment to me than the amount of money that I was making or the amount of money I will make, like, with my consulting job and even with Blood Logic. Like, to have this ability to, like, okay, so I did a live stream on Friday, and the people who usually watch it, they couldn't make it. And I remember on Saturday, I went to Zaxby's, and I was eating, and then I got a message from Matt. So that's funny, because there's a guy named Matt Coleman, who's one of my friends here. We went to Zaxby's, ate, and there's a guy in the UK called Matt Rollingston. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. There's so many people I meet, but I know your name's Matt from Elapse Labs, and he basically messaged me on WhatsApp. And he said, hey, man, I really agree with what you said on, you know, your circle is, it's very important to keep your circle. And to me, that's validation, not just I'm adding value to the market, but also the whole business and concept of what I'm trying to share you guys is like what people are sleeping on, right? Is that I was literally eating food and someone out there in the world was watching the work I did before, right? I left corporate because what do I have to show for all the time in my consulting, right? A fucking paragraph on LinkedIn and a resume. And it's like, like, I know how long I worked. I know the hours I put in, and I have nothing to show. I mean, like, it's not that I have nothing to show for it. I have these stories I'm telling you now and confidence and blah, 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 right? But literally, if someone new meets me and interacts with me, I literally just have a paragraph on LinkedIn and my existing resume. Like, I don't even know the last time I updated it because I quit my job. And to me, I was like, I need to make Blend Logic work so that, like, for a myriad of things that, but basically it's like, I want to raise the vibration of the world, so to speak, right? And it's kind of bold things to say, but that's how you gotta do it, guys. You gotta be bold sometimes. Shout out to Gary V, says Benjamin Hayes. Yeah, man. Okay, so I actually had a point to talk about Gary Vee and to really more explain like why I do this and why it's like Gary Vee says the same stuff. You guys have to realize that there's 7 billion people in the world. And let me get my, what am I even sharing? I need to get better at this presentation. I changed my thing up so I can't see what I'm presenting. Let me see Gary Vee's Instagram. 7 billion people in the world, and Gary Vee only has 4.5 million people, right? Like, let's put that in perspective, guys. Whoa. Whoa. All right, 4.5 mil out of 7 billion. That's terrible. Like, that's terrible numbers. But like when you understand the concept is like the reason why I did the things I did, and I took the path that I took, right? And I want to make this full screen so you guys like fully understand. Is like, dude, there's people who still don't like reject Gary Vee, right? The same way that I see in the world, like people reject some of the people that I look up to or I use as muses, right? Like people reject Nick Vujicic because they're like, oh, dude, he was born with no arms and legs, so he's lucky that he had this, that because he had such hardship that he had to execute the way he had to execute, right? Like it blows my mind that people like that something that could be used as motivation, people take and turn it into like reasons why they stay where they want to stay, right? And so like for example, for Gary Vee, right, he talks about how he was in college or he's a college dropout. His dad owned a winery business and he built it up, right? And I think I'm lucky that I have perspective on like, because I was in that mind frame before and I was able to get out. And so I could think of how, what I assume people think. Like, dude, people look at Gary Vee and the ones who reject him, and I'm not saying like this is a general, like broad generalization, but they'll be like, because I like, this is my experience, right? It's like, if you worked and got all A's your life, and then someone who got C's or was bad at school is telling you like, oh, like, fuck it, I fuck school, I made it, right? You want to protect your ego and the things that you've done in your life, because that's like, you're protecting yourself. You don't want to feel bad for your choices that you've made, right? So if someone will see Gary Vee and they'll be like, oh, his dad owned a winery business already, so that's why Gary Vee has what he has, because his dad was an entrepreneur and his dad came from wherever his dad came from and made a wine business. I didn't have that, so I can't do social media, or I can't like whatever, right? And then there's people who are like you know, I'm not saying that you don't need to study and you don't need to, you know, get good grades. I mean, it's all relative, right? But there's people who literally their whole life identity is based on tests and how well they perform on tests, and they cannot accept that someone didn't have to study as hard as they did and made more money, because they were sold in life that the answer to money or whatever is like good grades, right? Like, I'm Asian. I'm being straight up with what my parents said. They're like, dude, just be a doctor. Like, get good grades, become a doctor, right? And then I was introduced to these concepts like from the internet. And so like, that's why I'm doing what I do now, because I have to share the opportunity that was given to me, that the internet provided a way for me to get different input besides what like my parents were doing. And I love my parents, right? And I think a big thing that people blame is their parents, because they think that their parents didn't offer them like certain things that other parents could. But I think if you're old enough to watch this, like, everyone has a different experience in life. But you have to realize, like, dude, they're just humans and they're just trying the best that they could, right? And once you stop putting blame on others and you start focusing on what you can control, like, that is what's making all the difference for me to go live or to make this content and stuff like that. So to explain, like to close out this, like, that people surprisingly, in my opinion, surprisingly hate Gary Vee, is when I had my clients and I was like, hey, this is the model that we're following, right? You want to make live streams, you want to go long because this is what Gary Vee says to do, or this is what Lewis Hughes says to do, right? And it didn't work for me anymore to say, hey, look what these other people are doing, because they don't resonate with Gary Vee or they don't resonate with those people, right? There's something in the content that they see that they're like, well, you know, whatever, like the stuff I just explained, like, oh, maybe I was very studious. Like, fuck that guy for saying you don't have to be studious, right? And it's also a reference point for me because right now, like, my brother is working for Blood Logic, and I remember when I got into Georgia Tech, Brian said to me, he was like, dude, I can't believe you got in, and how much video games you were playing and like how chill you were, because like it's like the same concept, right? He was like, dude, I studied so hard, and I don't know if he got into Georgia Tech, if he got an acceptance letter or not. I don't remember that part of the conversation. But I do remember that he was like, he said like, he was shocked that I was able to get in, right? Because again, it attacks your patterns of belief, right? It attacks that for him, right? And I realize like I'm going very psychoanalytical, but the reason I do that is because like I want you guys to decide for yourself, like, is this the level that you guys have to take it to be successful or not? Because for me, I know what I did, and I know like what my thought patterns were when I wasn't having quote unquote success and when I was, right? So my experience in life is that yes, you do have to go deep, right? And so to go back to Brian's story, is like, yeah, he couldn't, like, it didn't make sense to him because I mad respect to what Brian was able to accomplish, and going to Georgetown is not an easy feat, and especially with like the scholarships he got. But like for me, it was like, I don't know. I think like there's a lot of things that affect my what you guys see now. But I think as long as you're aware of it, is like the best advice I have for you guys, is like to be aware of where you're at, and you know, even just hopefully by making this public, you guys, you know, start taking action. So yeah, that was a long rant. That was a long rant on Gary V, all because of Ben on Twitch. Okay, so what did I even say I wanted to do here? Topics to cover. Coach Rock, I already went over that. Okay, the dentist. So I actually just went to the dentist. I had my, I just had my teeth clean. 1 second. Chrome. Dentist. All right, so I was talking to the dentist about, like, full disclosure, like I have inflamed gums, and I was diagnosed with that like I think a year ago, and it was really like, I'm not even joking, guys. Like, seriously, floss your teeth. I made a video about this like a while back about the importance of flossing your teeth, and I have somehow leveraged it into my business. But basically, it's like, dude, it really hurt. Like, I'm like I remember I used to go in, I would like come out with tears because like my gums hurt really bad. And I just got back from it today, and I was like, that wasn't that bad, right? And I think into my life of like how people take action or how people like move. And I think it's cool sharing, you know, my experience with a dentist, because I think like once you start getting this concept that everything is of value, then you'll start like really being 100% in the moment and present. Right? So she was sharing with me that, you know, she tells people all the time, like, oh, you're going to tell me that you don't have a minute of your time to floss your teeth, even though if you don't do that, you're going to be on my dentist chair and you're going to be having a root canal or stuff like that, right? And she would also say things like, you know, I can only do so much in a 30-minute or an hour cleaning period. The rest is like what you guys have to do yourself, right? And you could probably tell, like, dude, I'm making correlations of like from a dentist office to adding like value on this video, right? Like just think about that from a meta perspective, right? Because where I'm at in my life right now is like, dude, everything is of value. And I will literally tell you of when I sat at the dentist office and tie it in to motivating you to do whatever you want to do in life, right? Like, on the end of the day, I think digital marketing and just marketing in general can open up the doors for anything you want in life, right? Because in terms of basketball, like, I was looking for a basketball company, and then I found out websites, and then I went to this thing called the International, and I flew to Seattle, and the whole time I was there, I just had my laptop out, and I was like, dude, I'm going to learn this fucking WordPress thing. I'm going to learn this website, and I built out joinfest.net, still available, and I was like, that wasn't that bad to learn, and I learned, like, all I could. I went deep, I was like, who as a basketball could probably use this, right? And I think that like the universe like gives you signs and shows you what is the appropriate step to do. And if you guys go on Instagram, you could see like who your followers, what they're interacting with, like not just who liked your stuff, but I would like go on Instagram and change it to, if you swipe on your thing, it shows like what are your followers up to. And my cousin in Canada, I think it was Nikki or Bobby, they're basketball fans. They all play basketball. And it said like, oh, Nikki liked Jordan Lawley's post. And I was like, who the fuck is Jordan Lawley? And I looked and I clicked and then I scrolled through. I was like, oh, who the hell is this guy? Like 80,000 views. He has 300,000 followers now. And then I saw, I was just like, oh, he's coming to Atlanta. Might as well go see him in Atlanta, right? And so it's like life just sets you up for like to see if you really want stuff or not. It's funny, like I've always heard that, and then now it's like that it's congruent and like ingrained in me. It's like, dude, like I will always be tested on like, you know, do I really want like helping people and not motivated by money, or am I motivated by money and like, you know, all the wrong things, right? And so when I share with you guys like you need to try to manifest this abundance mentality or stuff like that, it's because like okay, I'm thinking if I wrapped up that dentist thing or not before I go into like this deep dive. But essentially with the dentist thing, it's like, dude, it's so hard to sell preventative care. So they literally have to pay for marketers to help people realize that they have to floss their teeth every day. Like it just blows my mind. That's like there's people in the world that just don't understand like these concepts of like taking care of yourself and cleaning yourself up first and taking care of yourself. And like to not have time to floss your teeth is like, I compare it to my time at Meditech when there was a dude there who drove from Athens and he drove an hour 30, right? And it's like, dude, you're waking up early so that you could go get a job. And I'm not saying that like people don't need jobs, but it's like just understand this concept. It's like people say that they're so busy that they can't take care of themselves and invest in themselves first, that they're willing to give out their time to their job or to Netflix and chill or to whatever, right? And so I'm like, hopefully you've seen by what I'm showing you, it's like, dude, like I wake, like I told my brother Gabe this when I was in San Diego 2 weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I think I spend like an hour of my day planning. And it's just absurd concept to him that someone spends that much time planning. It's like, well, how was my life going before I did it, right? Like I know where my life was before I started planning. And so someone like Brandon Bouchard said, oh, maybe you should start planning your life or planning your day. And I was like, okay, let me start doing that, right? And that's just how it went. So here again, I'm sharing my live stream. Hashtag live. Hashtag value bomb if you guys are digging this, right? And so when's my call? I got like 10-15 minutes. There's something I want to show to you guys because I know I've been sharing with you guys like how I go back and edit my time. I'm not. Oh my god! Moving on. It says I'm streaming Dota 2, boys. This is not Dota 2. So one of the reasons I stream on Twitch is because you could go here on your Twitch chat and you could add a timer or a marker, right? So it's like, this is valuable, and I hit this add marker, and then let me go to my stream, and for example, like this one, right? I was playing video games. I was testing out this feature. You literally just click and it tells you where your markers were. Right, so remember, if you guys go back to like the first episodes I was doing, I was trying to teach you like, oh, well, I'm having an issue where I can't edit my videos fast enough because I have to go back and watch them, right? And so I remember like I used to use a clock, right? This lap timer. So hopefully you guys can see that. That's what I was doing before. And then I discovered Twitch markers. And so if you guys are going to go down this path, you say you want to, like, I don't know if you guys want to be what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. But I will say, like, if you guys want to, I think running an agency or helping your clients out, like, just tell them to start streaming on Twitch. Even if no one's watching on Twitch, the fact that you could add, like, a stream marker ASAP is so valuable to me because now I don't have to watch my old content. I'm just like, oh, it's here, right? And then I'm going to really get meta with you guys. A reason why I try to push people to Facebook and do hashtag replays, hashtag lives, right? Where is it? Where's Facebook? Let me show it here. I realize like I'm not showing what I'm supposed to be showing, so YOLO. Here's the live page, guys, on my Facebook. So if this opens up, okay, it's not opening up. Let me go here to screen share. Here it is, right? So I hope you guys are digging this, right? Hashtag value bomb to be discussed. It's called, it's from a book called 4 Steps to Epiphany. 4 Steps to Epiphany. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm always trying to execute and find time faster, or to make things easier for myself. So if I say to you guys, like, it's funny I'm doing this on like the 2nd week, but I have to do, like, I feel like I should be as transparent as possible. Right? If I tell you guys to do hashtag replay, hashtag live, or hashtag value bomb when you found value, instead, like, maybe, so the concept in 4 Steps to Epiphany is that you should go away from product development and into customer product development. And so how, like, I think I know what's a good thing by adding it on my market or in my stream marker. Like, I even use it on my iPad here. It's this thing right here. But how do I actually know it's valuable, right? So I test on Instagram. I test on different platforms. But the easiest way for me to actually validate what's good or not is if I ask you guys or whoever watches this to say, like, hey, if this is valuable, say, put hashtag value. And then I just go back and watch the replay on Facebook, and I look at the comments and I see where people added comments, and that is an execution of the thing I learned in 4 Steps to Epiphany, right? Is customer driven research, customer driven product validation, right? So you have to understand, like, that Bill Gates quote of like why you want to find lazy programmers, right? If you use that well enough and integrate it into your life, like, you guys will take your life to the next level, right? So whether or not, like, I'm not saying you guys don't have to go try to hit 6 figures or not. I'm just saying, like, I find it that from studying success, which is why I make keys to success, is like there's patterns in success that I see in people, or I've seen in successful people, and sometimes it's like, oh, I've already started doing that. That feels good for me. Or sometimes it's like, I haven't tried that yet, and let me see if that's what I need to start doing, right? You're supposed to be testing and experimenting here, right? So this, like I have to make this, like, I have to make Blend Logic, because if for people who, like, of the 7 billion people that some people don't resonate with Gary Vee, maybe it's because they tried hard in school, and I will tell you that I tried hard in school, and what I could get from my Georgia Tech career was a $40K job at Meditech, programmer analyst, and I felt like shit. I said, like, damn, like, all my friends, and not just all my friends, but like the people at Georgia Tech, right? I know that the average salary for biomedical engineers is like $70K, and all I could get was 40. I felt bad inside, but I was like, you know, I have to have these stuff like gratitude and appreciation for what I have. And then essentially it was like, well, is it going to be these things that of what is possible, or is it going to be like, you know, that I could take life into my own hands and get the salary that I want to get, right? And so you guys are seeing like a culmination of, you know, whatever, like, whether or not you consider this a win. The reason I want to share my losses is because I think that's not in the market a lot. A lot of times people just see what they're doing. They're like, oh, like, I can't get there, right? And I wanted to share. There's 2 things I want to wrap up. I gotta go. On the abundance mentality thing. So my brother, like, I on one of the first streams, I said I closed a 2K client for web design, and my brother's bride has, like, I know he's been working hard and all this stuff, and I appreciate all the stuff he's been doing. But basically, I was like, hey. The same thing with Enrico. I was like, dude, I budgeted this amount, right? I budgeted 500 for a copywriter, and I'm looking for project management at like 500 too, right? And so literally over the weekend, he did a bunch of stuff, and then it irked me actually, because he sent a video of the Family Guy. Let me see if I can pull it up. But basically, it was a Family Guy video where Stewie beats up Brian. And it's like, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? And to me, it's like, dude, I worked so hard to like get Blend Logic to where it's at, and it's like, you know, he just wants it for the money. But I have to understand that like not everyone's gonna have that mentality that I have built up, right? Of, you know, doing things out of passion, doing things out of, you know, for the right purposes and principle and right, you know, pure mindset. And so for me, it was like that was a test of abundance mentality for me, right? Because if I did like I knew what I wanted to pay him. I wanted to pay him 1,000, and I think I know what the hopefully what the transformation is that like, dude, like you think you need a corporate job, but you trade time for hours, but you literally just took this project engagement and you worked 2 days and you got 1,000. Right, so I don't know how it's gonna work out for him, and it's funny that I say this live because it's like I don't know, whatever if he watches it or not. It's like, dude, abundance mentality. The universe is testing me, and it's saying like, Alan, like if I was really stingy about not paying him, that means that I don't think that I could get more money, or I could get more clients, or I could add more value to the market, right? But because I've read these stuff and I've practiced this habit of like, you know, no, there's a lot, there's abundance, there's stuff out there for everyone, then I cannot be stingy, and so I paid him 1,000 for the like 2 weeks time. But I also put the stipulation that like, hey, look, the project isn't done yet, and this is what I pay people to complete projects, but I'm going to pay you up front because it's not about the transactions, it's about the transformation. And my hope is that it opens up the doors, not just for you, like not just for him, but for you guys watching this. It's like, dude, I'm just a dude in Atlanta who just added someone to like and made it a family business, and that's what I execute on. It's just like stuff that people don't resonate with Gary Vee or any of these dudes. It's like I have to be another voice, another person, so that you guys get it and you resonate. Like maybe you did study hard, maybe you did like stay up late and cram, right? And then now you're working hard, and then you see like you see rappers, or you see people who you perceive didn't work hard, and you get mad, right? Because that's what I see in the market, and that's what I see myself is like I used to think that rappers were bad, and that like how could people listen to rappers, right? Like I'm straight edge. I'm playing it by the books, and I'm gonna succeed in life because I have the moral high ground, right? That's like everything's just so relative now. It's just funny thinking back on it. It's like you have to just start with the concept of adding value and realizing what is value, right? And people get value from entertainment, and people get value from, you know, like, and there's a lot more to rap than you consider, right? There's like lyrical flows, and writing that stuff is hard, right? And I always challenge people to be like, dude, if you're hating on something, why don't you try it and see how easy it is? Like, that's the easiest thing for me. It's like anytime I find haters, just be like, dude, you try it, and then you let me know how hard it is, and then maybe that will give you perspective on why they make millions of dollars to tour the country and release albums and stuff like that, right? Because the masses of people it's so easy to criticize because they want to protect your ego than to, like, you know, try it for themselves and see how hard that craft is. Okay, so I think I hit all the topics I wanted to cover. Again, I hope that showcases to you from the previous stream I did. If you guys aren't following my Facebook group, it's, let me see, Chrome. You can go here on links.blendlogic.com/IamAballer. That will take you to the Facebook group where I post all these units so you can see my previous streams and stuff like that. I've decided to stream on my BlendLogic page, because on my BlendLogic page, I mean, this is for anyone who's considering doing like digital marketing groups or stuff like that, is I find that if I stream to my private group, I can't embed, but if I stream to my Facebook group, it allows me to embed. So that's something I'm testing, as I also have this website called BlendLogic, and you can hit up live stream, and and so I'm still tinkering with it, but it's supposed to be showing right here, so I need to figure out why that's not working. I might contact Facebook support. But yeah, I covered the topics I wanted to cover. It's all on the Jamboard. Let me just double check that I did that. I did the dentist thing. You see how I turned, right? It's like, it's either everything has value or nothing has value, right? And if you value yourself, then you will realize that everything has value. At least that's the shortcut mindset that I have right now. So I talked about the dentist. Dentist meeting. Points to cover. Oh yeah, I did the Coach Rocky, right? You saw that he took away his thing. So did he make he either made $25,000 in 2 days, or he has abundance mentality and he's playing the long term, where he realizes he doesn't have to keep selling something because he knows that he'll keep making content and he'll keep making money by adding value to the market. Right? That's the concept that you guys have to understand. It's like you either think that this is the last time you're going to make money, or you realize that you have a history of momentum and a history of taking action, and you'll do it, and you will take action, and you'll eventually be able to add value enough that you do get paid for what you deserve, right? You only get paid for what you deserve, not what you think you deserve. All right. I think that's it, guys. Hopefully that clears up like some stuff. Like there's a reason why I'm not using my whiteboard, because people are gonna say, "Oh, Alan had money to buy a whiteboard," right? So this is like a simple concept: is that you could use, like, I could have done this with my iPad, I could have done this with my iPhone, like whatever phone you guys have. There's a lot of softwares to hook it up and connect, right? So thanks for joining live, fam. I got a meeting. I wish you guys the best. Remember, guys, hashtag baller if you guys want to be ballers, right? I hope this adds value. I'm always looking for feedback. Again, those of you who know me, you have my contact information. I'm always available. And yeah, guys, peace out.